everybody to another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. It's a drawing room. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, aka Merchel, aka the Nil Kid.
All I know is
Because
draws.
all we know are 0-0 draws. I am joined, of course, by my guy and yours. It's Super Yaya.
It's draw, yeah, man. I am drawn to seeing
Draw
footy.
ya.
Draw, yeah. There we go. Kind of like Yarbrough, which is what I called him today.
Oh man, Rapids with their sixth 0-0 draw at home this season to Houston, their seventh on the year. They went 0-0 at Vancouver. My guy, there is very little to talk about in this one. This is the recipe. This has been the recipe all season at home. This is it. They come out looking great. They have chances for the first 15 to 20 minutes. I tweet something about how great the attack looks and how much I love how much they're working hard and the energy is there. And then the second half start, and then it kind of like settles down and nothing happens right near halftime. And then the second half, the other team kind of finds something, and then it's just a dogfight at the end and nothing happens.
I have a question for that.
Okay.
What do you think is the reason that the second half is so bad? Is it because teams adjust, or is it because Frazier doesn't adjust quick enough to what the teams are doing now?
That's a really good question. I don't think the fourth. I like the 4-3-3 that they're doing, especially with Keegan and Gutman and Acosta out there, because you can really let anyone drop back to be the third guy back. I think the problem is when you're doing just so much like for like subs in that second half, that it doesn't force the other coach to adjust his lineup at all. You know what I mean? And his positioning and who's where, because he literally did a line change tonight. I mean, it was a straight up, we took our three attackers off and we put three attackers on in the same exact positions, doing the same exact stuff. And it's like, what do I have to change? What was working so much that you decided to keep doing the same thing?
And parts of it's like you got worse at a position, and you're doing the exact same thing in a worse way now.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting because I think Lewis and Barrios were pretty good tonight. I think Cabral was not. But I thought all three. I thought Yappy had a good night. I thought Harris had a great night. Galvan, I still think needs to kind of figure out that right wing a little bit.
he is going in. He is cutting in. He is
Yes.
playing a double time with Bassett
Correct.
and letting Keegan be the winger, which I kind of enjoy because it lets Bassett move to the left and be that kind of that facilitator on that side, and that's kind of what you need.
Totally.
I'm kind of for that kind of like inverted winger, which Govan's kind of playing, and they did. That's where he's more comfortable, and I think that's where he's actually been the most lethal. So I'm
Yeah.
in for that. But this is my question. So do you
Sure.
think it's more on Frazier not
Yeah.
making the adjustments quick enough, or using those subs to kind of find something different?
Well, shout out to Matt Pollard tonight because we were talking about this. It was like when we were going with the line change, we saw all three warming up for probably 2-3 minutes before. It's like, so we knew it was coming. And we wanted to, who's coming off? Are they just going to do a line change, right? And I thought they had the perfect opportunity to push Galvan to the 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keep, and then you can switch all three out, right? But take Bassett and sub Bassett out there and have Galvan be your creator in the middle there, right? Or because Cabral came over pretty late. It looks like it was just Lewis and Barrios, right? And then you thought maybe you could leave Yappy in with those two. I thought it was kind of harsh to pull him. I thought he was in good position all night, really. And it was just like the like for like thing, right? You really had a chance to put Galvan in a new creative position that would have forced Houston to kind of change what they were doing. You could have pushed Yappy outside. I mean, there was just things you could have done instead of just going like for like and running the same thing.
That's so interesting you say that because I kind of thought the same thing. But to me, it was what would happen if we push Clavin to the striker role, where he's been incredible in Rapids too. You bring in a Lewis and Barrios, and then you take Bassett out and you let Gutman be that 10, and then
That was the other thought.
you just attack with speed, and because you're not getting anything through the corner, you're not those crosses to the box. We're not getting anywhere. None of them were close except for one that Cabral barely missed. So why not try just attacking down the middle and then see if you can open up the wings a little bit more and then
Yep.
go back to the outsides, which is what I was expecting them to do, and that's an adjustment I think Frazier has to make. And maybe it is you take out a Lawless for a Moise, where Moise can push up higher than Lawless and have more recovery speed, so Ronan can push up a little bit more, and you let Acosta push up, so you have Maxu at your last back line, and then you have Moise that's kind of playing that like that fake six center back role where he's just right ahead of Maxu, a little bit above the halfway line, and then you do have a Ronan and Acosta opening up the wings a little bit more and having that. And it just felt like it was such a missed opportunity to experiment a little bit. And how you said that line change, it's like you know where you're gonna get from those three. Why would you just go back to that instead of trying to maneuver a little bit and trying to change your style of play to help out your players out there?
It's just, it's so uninspiring. Like, I just don't. He's so fine going 0-0 drop. Like, Frazier is so cool with that. As much as he talks about, like, oh, we're disappointed we couldn't finish. We're going all out for a win. I just don't see it. The dude, the game plan is a 0-0 draw. There's nothing inspiring about that attack. There's nothing creative about the formation. And like, whatever, like, if you don't lose, you don't lose, right? Like, that there is something good about not losing. It's not a complete negative. It's just so boring. It's so boring.
It feels like if the Rapids don't score in the first half, they're not going to score all game. And that's where
they've only scored twice in the first half this season or something like that, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, and it comes back to to me, it comes back to like this Frazier thing. Is it just thinking like him as a defender?
Yeah.
Is it him just like, hey, you didn't get a goal scored on you? That's good. And I get that, I understand that, but I just don't understand why the changes need to come for him to try to maneuver it. I rather you lose at this point and get a goal and you're going for it than
Right.
than draw and it just becomes a stalemate.
Man, it was. I mean, and look, Houston. I mean, Ben Olsen. That dude loves a road 0-0. That guy. That signed Ben Olsen up for 0-0 draws every road game of the year.
It's not a coincidence that Robin and Olsen both have big O's right there, man. It's they're the 0-0 kings.
They love that shit. They eat it up, my guy.
I mean, it wasn't Ben Olsen a defender too?
I want to say midfielder, but maybe I was confusing him with someone else in my head all night long.
Yeah, let me check real quick because I am actually really interested in that his playing career because I think midfielder. Yeah. You're right, but I think he played the defensive flick. So
yeah. Shout out everybody in the chat right now.
It's popping
Dustin,
off.
Rebecca, Cody,
Carlson.
This is a really good point. Yappy, I think. I've been as hard on Yappy as anybody. I'm not.
Oh, you've been the number one, like, hey, yo, pump the brakes guy.
Well, look, he hasn't scored a goal, and he's really in good position to score a goal. Tonight, I thought he was in a very good position to score a goal on most of the attacks. I hate that he went to ground looking for the goal instead of passing it over to Galvan on the wing in the box on that big break he had, because I know he wants a goal, and I wanted him to get an assist instead. Right. If you set goals up, goals will find you. Right. Like, that's just how the game works. Right. Like, be unselfish and someone will be unselfish back. And I hate that he went to ground. I hate that he was looking for the goal and the penalty. But yeah, I thought he had an overall good night considering he didn't score. And I think he probably had 0 XG if you go and look at it.
Yeah. But also part of me is like, screw it, like go for goal, like try to develop that killer mentality. Well, I mean, part of me it's like just fucking go for it. You need a little bit of that, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And again, wrong decision, and that's something you'll learn with time. But I like where his head was at in that
sure.
specific thing where it's like, you know what, screw it, I'm a striker, I'm a shooter.
Sure.
I'm a killer. I need to be a
Yep.
killer. Exactly. So again, you're completely right. Not the right play. Not what you had to do.
No.
But I'm all for it because mentally it looks like he might be turning a page. Because it does feel like when he gets the ball, he's not thinking as much and he's just trying to go.
He's just doing.
Exactly.
Mikey had the same thing. Mikey just let one rip. He had Cabral like wide open in the middle. Not necessarily wide open, but the right ball puts him where no one can touch it except for him.
It would have been the exact same outcome.
Acosta just let one rip. Did you remember that where Gutman left it behind him?
Yeah.
And he just fires one. Gutman fired a couple. It was just like, I don't understand.
Low-key, I'm kind of down for that. Like, I want shooters. Shoot.
Sure.
You can't score if the ball's not going towards the net.
I mean, bro, they shot a lot. I mean, statistically, this looks like a game they dominated. Sorry, I'm gonna pull it up as we go here.
No, you're good.
It's just, I mean, they had more shots, they had more corners, they had possession, they had way more passes completed, and they were very accurate with their passing. Like profile wise, this is exactly the game you want at home. Except I remember at one point we looked at it and it was like both teams were at 0.3 xg through like well over an hour.
Oh yeah, it was the 80th minute.
It was just like unreal. Let's see. Okay, if you're looking at passing, the 86%, you know, like they were really clean. They ended up with 52% possession. I think they had 2/3 possession though in the first half. 8 shots, 3 on goal. So Houston really bounced it out late, and actually passes ended up being really close. So first half was all Rapids. Second half was pretty much leaning towards Houston, but the Rapids had 10 corners and didn't score.
Can we talk about those corners real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I hate that they keep having Lawless being the target guy on those.
He's always the target on that back post. He's always the target on the back post.
It worked last year 3 times. It's worked this year twice. And you have so many corners. I'm done with that play. You bring it out every now and then, especially because you have Yappy, one of your tallest players, actually blocking for him, being like a screener. I'm like, what are you doing? You're taking out Yappy out of the play in order for Lawless to score, which at that point makes no sense to me.
I think the best balls from Ronan tonight on corners, no one was where they should have been. You know what I mean? Like there was a couple where he found nobody.
Yeah.
And so easy snags for the Houston keeper. And it was just, I don't know. They have such a high XG this year on set pieces and they aren't converting. So it's like they are getting the ball on heads in the box in dangerous positions, and they just can't finish. It's mind-boggling.
Their best play on those corners are literally the little choo-choo train they do, and then they all like spread out because at that point everybody's out and going. But when they're just when they're doing that play that where like Yappy is covering 2 Dynamo player away from Lawless, I'm like, you're taking Lawless and Yappy out of the play because Lawless not going to be able to run through Yappy, and Yappy's not going to be able to turn around in time to get ahead. Like
Lawless had 2 arms around Yappy to start that play.
It happened like 2-3 times, and then like this makes no sense. You're taking out your striker who's like tall, big dude, for a defender to try to score a goal.
Oh
like,
man, it was real.
Like I don't get it.
Sorry, just I keep going down this stat sheet. Clearances. This is the interesting one. Houston had to make 32 clearances, so they were in the right. You know what I'm saying? They were in the right position to make plays happen. But just desperation defending on their back line. XG finishes 0.4 to 0.3. That's fun.
Did you know that this was the only game?
Huh?
This was the only game today without a goal.
I believe that. I sit next to Pollard and his FOT mob. He has FOT mob alerts for any MLS goal, and his phone was just like zzz, 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 zzz,
yeah.
Zzz.
Minnesota drew with LAFC in a great game, by the way.
There were some really good games, and again, this is such a stacked. They stack everything, so it's impossible to actually watch any. Nashville, Cincy was interesting until Nashville got 2 red cards. LA got a red card early against Vancouver.
Philly dominated.
RSL again. St. Louis again. Good Lord. Sorry, Dustin. I wish you saw more goals. I wish I saw more goals. Covering zeros, dude. 6 nils at home. That's insane.
Dude, it's so bad.
6.
And again, like
Good. That's 6 shutouts. That's great. 6 shutouts at home is great. I love that. Sign me up for that.
Turn half of those into wins, and you're in a playoff spot right now.
Score 1 goal in those. Like, come on.
And you're literally, that's what, 12 points. That's 30. They have what, 19? They have 19, 18 before this game.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like what, 12?
You're right
points.
in the thick of it. Yeah.
You're like right like 9th to like 7th place around there, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like now you're just like still last place because you can't win at home.
And shout out to our guy Rabbi over on Holding the Highline. Before the second half of Portland was played, I think he had it where even with the Dallas win, they needed to go at about a 1.77 points per to end the season to even have a shot, right? To even think about it. And since they went draw, right? So
I
now
thought it
that
was more than that.
higher.
I thought it was like 2.7 or something like that.
I think it's 1 point. I mean, 1.7 is a lot. That's a pretty high points per game, right? That's more than in the playoffs if you have that for a season.
You know what makes it worse? Opaku scored today.
I know. Navarro coming, man. Navarro will be here for Leagues Cup most likely. If not that first game at Nashville, definitely home for Toluca.
That does you need him in there. You're not gonna train with him. You're not gonna try to be like, hey, let's give him a few minutes. No, you give him
that dude starts.
Give him the Andrew Koeman treatment. You know what, dude? We're not fighting for anything. Go the fuck ahead and try to score as many goals as you can.
We were talking about this tonight and about Cody's question here. Do you think you could see a Yappy Navarro combo, or are you going to see Navarro play with a second striker, whether that's Diego, Cabral, Yappy, Harris, or are you going to keep it wings out? Navarro is the target in the middle.
I think you do wings out to keep Navarro in the middle because you are getting good crosses in there. You're just not getting anybody that finishing them, which is like that's
or get in position to finish.
Yeah. Exactly. And the other issue is that I think if you do second striker, that takes Gutman out. And Gutman's been a really effective player in my opinion, and you kind of want to keep him out there. And Gutman's already hitting that middle part so much and like playing so central that I think it would just crowd that area way too much for Navarro if you have a second striker out there.
Sure.
And I think you just gotta let the guy cook and give him space.
Okay.
I think if you do shadow striker, I would do a 10 and then
like Rubio, like last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kind of just go with the 9, and then that 10 is like a Rubio who's playing almost up, like literally playing like 2 steps behind him.
Or Galvan.
Exactly. That can. I think Rubio's that because he has that striker mentality that makes the runs. Galvan is more of that creative kind of like I'm gonna try to get you that pass in one of the dopest ways possible. Like that is all about the flair,
sauciness.
Like, he might literally be Brazilian. So I think the way to go is like you put if you're gonna do 2 strikers, that has to be Rubio because they're different qualities. But with Yappy and Navarro, they're so like similar that it's not gonna make any sense to be so redundant up top.
Unless you wanted like a 4-4-2, but I don't think you have enough midfielders to run out of 4-4-2. You know, and if you do like, unless Rubio is one of those, right? And then you could do like a Rubio, Navarro, Yappy, but then you're really relying on Gutman and Rosenberry up top. It just gets really confusing. So I think you still kind of have to just take this Harris and Galvan wing action, which is really working. Harris was great tonight, and just replace Yappy with Navarro, and I think you're cooking, honestly.
Exactly, and I think you just gotta try that because you found a system that's working for you. You found players that are working well in the system. I still think that if you have a true 6, the system explodes because you can't even just if you leave Cole out there, that's cool, but maybe you want to push Ronan to that 10 spot.
Sure.
Like, and I've been thinking, what if you want to give Bassett a break? Why don't you put Galvan in the 10 and then you push out Cabral out to the right of the winger?
I do want to see that. We haven't seen enough of it.
And I think it'd be a really fun combination. You have Gavon at the 10, and you got two speed guys that can really get crosses in there.
Harris Cabral outside Navarro with like a Ronan, Galvan, Acosta midfield is like, yeah, I kind of like that.
You're getting intrigued, and this is what I'm talking about. And then if you really want to like spice things up, take Lawless out, put Bombi in there. Bombi's playing that 6-6 pivot kind of role that can push back, go up, push up, because he can play kind of that mid attack to your defense kind of way, where you're like playing 3/4 of the field and then 3/4 of the field and then coming back to defend. And I think that's Bombi's perfect role because he has some great long balls. So if you put him there, he can push the ball to the right, to the left, and then you got Gavon taking guys on in the middle anyway. He's like, let him cook that down the seam, and then you got two speed demons that can just cook almost anybody, and you're having something fun. Then you got a tall guy Navarro, and then let's say there's a cross coming in from Harris. You got two tall guys in Cabral coming right into the box trying to hit that header. Harris is not no slouch himself. He's tall and he can really jump.
Fast. Yeah.
And like, I think that combo would be fun.
Sure.
Maybe you might not score any goals, but that combination is going to be really fun, especially with the Navarro in there.
Do you have any other things you want to get to about this game that aren't player specific?
4-3-3, amount of opportunities. I did the changes, which was the only one that I like that really caught my eye immediately. But besides that,
yeah, not much. All this for Wilson was there was no update according to the guys that were at the press conference. No update from Fraser on Lawless yet. So
the other one is I'm upset Bombi didn't play. I thought Bombi should kind of be treated in that aspect.
I'm trying to think, did Wilson came on as a sub last game too, right?
Yeah, but the issue was that Bombi wasn't back yet. He was not in the international.
I just think you got to let Wilson cook a little bit, especially if one of those two guys is outbound. Like, not that I know anything about that.
Mitchie scoops over here trying to.
I would have scooped it already if I wouldn't be scooping it at 11 o'clock on a Saturday.
But nobody's watching.
I guess the thing that isn't Flowers that is a player specific. Do you notice who didn't play at all? Who wasn't featured?
Yeah, that really kind of gave me second thoughts. Who? Your boy, Sammy Nichols.
My boy, your boy, Dwayne's boy, someone's boy,
Charlotte's boy,
Wanner's boy. Happy birthday, Wanners!
That's another one. Wanners was very. Like he was all over the Apple.
Good for him. Happy birthday!
And you on the broadcast, you could hear them singing "Happy Birthday." And I'm like, that's so badass. Shout out Juaners, love you, man.
What a way to cap off Juaners Week, hearing his birthday song on the Apple broadcast. That's dope. But yeah, Sam didn't play tonight. Didn't play. He was a starter in that Portland game. Was subbed at the half and the restart.
They didn't play the game before either.
Didn't play the St. Louis game, or not St. Louis, Dallas game.
That's extremely weird for a player that
played
dominant in the starting lineup
in like 3 different positions too. You know what I mean? Like he's played everywhere.
Yeah, he also played shadow striker. Like
he's been all over. So I don't know what that means. Well, I mean, I'm kind of insinuating what I think it means. I don't know what it means, but yeah. Kevin, you're right, man. C38 was legit tonight. I made a note of that in the game thread. It was loud. It was I was impressed. I was honestly really good crowd. Pretty busy crowd. I got to go down and check out North Boundary at halftime. That was really cool. The GA tickets are sick. You do have some tables that are like reserved. So there's like the GA, it's like 40 something bucks. And you're just behind a few tables that are right there on the end line. But if you get one of those tables behind the goal, that has to be as cool of a spot as you can get.
It is a little sketchy. I saw a few balls head out that way, so like you have to keep your head in a swivel.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, but it's right there. I mean, that is like a really good seat.
No, I'm all for that. One other thing, game wise, that I wanted to talk about, not player. Real quick, what do you think about them playing out of the back?
Oh, it's terrible.
You thought so? Awful. I thought it was their best game that they played out of the back.
Okay, I should say
they had one chance where they were like, okay, I get why.
Let me rephrase it. They were passing accurately and consistently, but it was Yarby to Lawless to Yarby to Maxu to Yarby to Keegan to Ronan, back to Yarby. And it was just the whole point of playing out the back isn't that you keep passing it back to your keeper. It's that it's a progressive and he's starting it and then you keep it going up the field. And it just kept going back to Yarby. And it was just so frustrating to watch. It was like that you guys have to find that next spot. The biggest hole for me was the right side because Gutman hugged so tight and Galvan was hugged so tight to the line. And Yappy was like riding, that the high line there trying to get to make a run. And there was just a hole in that part of the midfield there on the right side where just that would have been the next progressive pass and just nothing was there. So that was frustrating. I should say that they were calm, cool, and collected, and they passed it to each other accurately, and they weren't turning it over.
That's to me the biggest thing.
Sure.
Because it's like, even though it didn't lead to an immediate thing, they didn't turn it over, and they got it to the second half. Even if it took, they got into the opponent's half, even if it took forever. And I'm okay with it taking a little bit because they're not the Barcelonas, they're not the Napoli, they're not even Brighton out in the Premier League who's great at that shit. Like, you're just not those teams. So like, if it's gonna take you a little bit of time for you to get this system and how to play out of the back, and seeing what they did in the Dallas game to what they did this game, huge improvement in my opinion. I was happy to see them play out of the back in the Dallas game. I was really happy that they didn't turn it over and gave them an opportunity and didn't give them an opportunity.
There was one scary one where I think Lawless was like letting it go through to a midfielder or something like that.
Yeah.
In the first half, but other than that, good job.
And that's what I'm happy about. Also, Ivan Franco is not him. Houston fans, I'm sorry. You guys think like he is not your Max. Max was him. This dude was not. It's not even close to being
honestly
him.
Yeah, Leo Quinones.
Quinones is good, but just so.
I did like Quinones tonight. Who do you think rated highest for the Rapids?
I'm gonna say Ronan. No. Lawless. Lawless always ranks the highest. Fought Mob love
Lawless. No love for Lawless tonight on Fought Mob.
Then it's gonna be Yarby because he had those chances.
He was player of the match, 7-7. He had that great save late on Baird. That and I think he was just good all night. He slept well when he got out of the box when he needed to. Distribution was accurate as I've seen it all season. Just a really good game from him. Next highest outfield player was Gutman at a 7.5. You love to see it.
Yeah.
And then next was the guy that we go hardest in this section on was Cole Bassett. Nice 7.3 for him. I thought he was involved. I mean, still quieter than you want him to be, but no yellows, wasn't whistled a lot. I thought his defense was solid and active. Passing was great. Yeah.
Offensively, he read the game perfectly tonight. We're as perfect as he can, at least, because he made the right pass, but he also risked it at the right time. And it was never a risk that left his team in the back in a bad spot, which is like perfect for him.
And then Keegan and Ronan were 7-1s. Everyone else was below 7. So
also Ronan played the 6 dope. He dropped in between the defenders and actually did a great job in that position. So
Acosta only rated a 6.4. I thought it was Acosta's best game of the season.
No, he had a really good game at home too. I forget what it was.
Sure, but it was up there.
Yeah, it's definitely top 3 of the year. Definitely.
He was great. I'm surprised he rated so low there. Active.
Did he get a yellow?
Nope. No yellows. No yellows for the Rapids. Just the 2 in the first half. Unless you count Ben Olsen's late. But that doesn't really matter. It would be funny to see a visiting coach get a red and make him do the walk of shame. That would be awesome. Okay, should we jump into Flowers really quick?
Yeah, let me pull that up. Shit. I don't think there's gonna be like a lot today either way.
You can go first if you want.
I was gonna take it from you, but my flower, I'm not gonna take it from you.
Do it. No, take it.
No, I'm taking Ronan. I really like Ronan's game today. Sure. I'm the one that bashes the most on him, and I think today he actually had the game I would love him to see because he created from that back line the most. He didn't have any major turnovers. He was positioned correctly on match. He was tackling, man. He was like going at it defensively. Like he wasn't letting players push him around like he usually does. And I really appreciated that from him. I really appreciated the effort defensively, and I think he was the one that was creating the most out of that midfield, and I really appreciate that.
He was good. He was good. I don't think, I think that 7.1 is maybe slightly lower than I would have graded, but it wasn't his best game, wasn't his worst game. I don't think having 10 corners and, not having one assist is a tough look for our guy.
I blame so much the tactics on those corners more than I
but
do.
the balls weren't great. The ball, I mean,
Yeah, there were a couple that were right into the goalie's hand, and I'm just like, yikes.
You know what I mean? He just had a lot of when you're the set piece guy, and they had a lot of set pieces. I think they had 16 or 17 total set pieces tonight. You got to find one of them. You just have to. When you have that many set piece chances, and you have those between Yappy, Lawless, and Maxu as target guys, you got to convert one of them.
Yeah, and again, set pieces not great. Run of play, I thought it was his most complete game of the year.
Absolutely.
And all the off assets, he graded out at an 8 instead of grading out at 5s or 2 in different plays of the game.
I'm gonna give mine to Harris, Calvin Harris. I think he drew 4,000 or 5,000 the first half, which we were surprised that repeated infringement yellow didn't happen by that fourth foul, which is about where he got hurt on the sideline, because he took a knee to the kidney or something like that. Like eventually you keep getting fouled like that on that wing and creating, he created corners. Him and Gutman were linking up great again. God, that's such a nice partnership.
It's great. I love when Bassett joins it too. That little trio really knows how to like move around and get the ball.
No, that was really fun. So yeah, Harris.
Yeah, and also it's really cool that you got a style of play in one side of the field where it's like very team connected, runs, passing it. Then on the right side, you got two dudes that just run at you and Keegan and Gutman, and it's like so contradicting, but it keeps the defense guessing. What are they gonna do?
But I do think Gutman and Keegan have found some nice give and go stuff on that.
Oh,
they
definitely.
both play really tight. I wish they loosened up that wing a little bit and went inside more, but that's where they're both comfortable. So go for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Any others?
To me, I'm gonna give it a Yarby. I think Yarby deserves
absolutely
a lot. Like I literally, the thumbnail of this with Yarbrough, because without him, I think there's a 1-0, 1-0, 2-0 loss because he really did have some great saves that kept the game 0-0. And if without him, I think there's no other. There's a world that we're sad. Maybe not even doing this pod because we're so sad.
Just a bummer of a loser's lounge. Yarby, especially on a day where Illich goes through official, on like a pretty long deal with team options. Like he could be here through 2027.
Is that our Jokic?
Let's go.
How about you, man? Another one?
And look, I don't, and just really quick, I don't think Yarby's getting pushed out this season. I don't think there's a rush to get him out. You know what I mean? I just think if you have a target that you like, again, like you can't, I think people read too much into the time frame of windows, right? It's just like you only get this window in winter, and that's it, right? It's not like the NBA where you have like 9 months straight where you can make moves, 8 months straight where you can make moves, right? So if you think this is the guy and you don't think there'll be a keeper that you want in the next window or the window after that, lock him up. You have him now. Like that's a good move,
It's also so weird for the MLS because like European clubs have like 4 months, like from when the season ends to when the season, like a month until the season starts. But the MLS only really has 2 months because during the winter window, the European clubs only have that 1 month, and afterwards, so nobody's gonna want to sell to you because they can't replace their players.
Right.
And then during the summer months, everybody's trying to snatch everybody up, and you have no chance to make any moves because the summer window you only have that 1 month, and it's after everybody already started their window. Right. So the MLS is kind of like a disadvantage because they're playing with different time frames that are kind of the opposite of the rest of the world, and that's why it's really hard for them to understand. To like when you have a player, you got to get that player and just kind of go from there.
That's like the Gutman move, like where it's like
take it when you have it.
Yeah, exactly. You identify a target that you like and you go get them, whether or not it's like the immediate, need, which they then immediately address with Navarro. But you know what I'm saying? It's like you only get so much time to make moves. And if you see a guy you like, you got to do it. I I don't really have any more, man. I can't like. I thought Keegan and Gutman were good, but not enough. I thought Maxu again was like fine.
There's a bunch of roses, but not a lot of flowers that you can give.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think there's not a lot of like reason to spend a lot of time with them because it was just a solid game that
Mhm.
ended up in a 0-0. And like you
Mhm.
can, there's only a few guys that actually stood out.
Yeah. It's 3 unbeaten going into the Leagues Cup break, so you do have that. That's nice.
we're calling it a break because me and Mitch are down on the squad, making it far.
No. I mean, maybe, but I'm just calling it a break because it's not MLS games. I'm excited for Leagues Cup, man.
I am too, but again, it's more like how far. Like
I'm also
Nashville.
excited for Las Vegas and backpacking and
Yeah, you're just going on a break, like literal. Just so you guys know, me, Mitch, and Dwayne do this out of full passion, so we give up our Saturday nights to do this.
every Saturday.
Like literally, like the funnest times of the year, summer Saturdays. We decided to say, hey, you know what? What if we work on those days
For free?
literally? So like that's why when we get a small break in the summertime, we go ham because we don't get a lot of those.
Seriously. So yeah, Vegas is gonna be dope. Staying at the MGM. Watching United.
And then you're gonna go to Circa Sports Resort.
I'm probably gonna go hit the pool.
Yeah.
Before
one of the dopest places.
We're either going to the pool or Meow Wolf. We haven't decided yet. But definitely we will be stopping by Circa one way or the other because those are the homies.
Let's go.
Man, so Navarro's gonna probably play the next game the Rapids play,
which is,
and if not, Sunday, he'll be playing the next home game.
That pisses me off. You need him to play immediately.
Well, no, I just don't know. I mean, once the paperwork's done, he'll play. I just, it's a long process. Like he's not here. He can't be here until the paperwork goes through.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't blame the Rapids for this. I'm just saying, like, he needs to play as quickly as possible. It's more of a like urgency, like it's an urgency, not like
let's go.
Exactly. It's not. I'm not blaming anybody because it's like not their fault. Like you can't unless like I blame the U.S. for having the dumbest green card process in the world. But like that's about it.
You know how you can pay extra, like if you're going to Mexico or Europe or whatever, and you forgot to renew your passport, and you can just pay extra to expedite it.
Yeah, I did that actually. So yeah,
can't Kroenke just like slide some cash to some officials at whatever department that is, and just make it happen a little quicker?
Dude, this is the weirdest thing. I was actually thinking about this today. I'm like, how is like transferring green cards for athletes a thing? Mm-hmm. Only in soccer, like you have Jokic, you never hear about like his green card, his passport.
Right.
You never hear about like Mutombo when he came. Joel Embiid, like Rudy Gobert. You don't hear about these guys that are from like other countries. They're like having problems. Even in baseball, like you don't hear it about the Dominican players that come over. Like,
right, yeah, and I think maybe that's because. The windows, I think it has to do with just like the timing of the windows. You know what I mean? And like having that one window mid-season, one window off-season, which is in season for Europe. And I think you just kind of notice it more. Like I think the only time you notice it in the NBA is when you go play in Canada. You know what I mean? And like some guys' stuff just won't go. You can't. This guy's just not playing in Toronto tonight. But you're right. I think baseball, you see that too, because some guys are refugees in the U.S. from Cuba, and you can't leave until you become a citizen. Like if you're still a refugee on that status, you have to stay in country, basically.
It's just so weird to me. Like I was thinking about this today when I saw the whole Marco thing, and we know why it took so long, that. But like, it's just I think about it, and I'm like. So weird that I don't hear about this in other sports, especially in hockey. I'm never hearing like, "Oh,
that's true." The whole team's international.
Exactly. Nathan McKinnon couldn't get his green card. Arturi Lehkonen wasn't able to come through because his work visa was like expired. You know what I mean? Oh, but it's a constant thing in soccer all over the world, and I'm like, why? Like, why is it such a thing in soccer? But you never hear about it in the NHL. We're like, oh, Mikko Rantanen has to stay another week out in Finland because his green card got denied, and now he has to reapply through a different process. And
Right. And like Harris had to go back. Right, like he was here, he was in college here, he was drafted here, he was on 2 different clubs here, and then had to go back. And that's now he's back with a green card. He had to take a break this season.
It's just so awkward to me that you don't hear it in any other sports, but in soccer, it's like a prominent thing, and you understand if you're signing an outside player, it's gonna take 2 to 3 weeks for him to get here.
That's so interesting. I wonder if there are some countries where, I mean, I'm sure it's easier from like Mexico and Canada, obviously. I wonder if there's any European countries where it's like super easy to work with. I don't know. I have no idea. Every time I look over like during a game and we start thinking about this stuff, I'm like, hey, Emilio, Omar, like what's, and you know, they're like who knows, like that, hands off on those questions. It's like, how, I don't know. Like that's like governmental process. The wheels of government move slowly, right? So
it's just so awkward to me that we hear this constantly in our sport, but like around like there's plenty of international sports where like they don't have these things going on. So is it America that's just causing this?
Right.
Well, like I doubt it too, because like I remember when Xavi Simons went out to the Netherlands, he was having trouble crossing, and he's from like he is like from the Netherlands. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like it's just so many things. Like it's an awkward thing.
Let's see. What else? Illich, we talked a little bit, just talked about.
Illich, if you want to know about Illich, we did a whole pod on him. Totally. Go look for it. And that's literally the same reaction. Because nothing's going to change from that to this. They just literally said, okay, you're good enough to be here.
Did we see anybody's last game as a Rapid tonight?
I keep hoping for 2 people, and I'm not going to say their names. But I keep hoping there's 2 or 3 people that play.
I mean, I think yes. I think for sure yes.
Yeah.
I think, and not because I know who it is, but just I know that they're trying to be active.
Yeah, that's all we know. We're trying to leave. Like that's it. Like
if I had to guess, I think Kevin is more right than Cody. I don't see Lewis going anywhere.
Yeah, I doubt Lewis leaves.
There's nothing I've heard that would make me say that Lewis is out the door.
Yeah, Barrios either, but Barrios is more
expensive, bro.
Also, Barrios is more valuable to a team than Lewis.
Correct. Yep. So we'll see. I don't know. One of the defensive backs now that Moise is back and you still have Edwards on the bench and Keita available, maybe.
Which one would you rather leave, Barrios or Lewis? Both of them want to leave. Which one would you rather leave?
Probably Mikey. He's just older and more expensive.
That's me.
And too. I think he's kind of lost a step.
Wilson or Lawless? Which one would you rather see leave?
That's interesting because I think there's a great argument to keep both. Lawless obviously is a fan favorite. His work with the Special Olympics team,
Rapids for the day kind of thing too.
Just in the community. I see more Lawless kits than any current player when I just walk around the park on game day. He's super popular, great dude, so nice, great presence. Wilson has that veteran savvy you want. He's great with the ball at his feet, great at organizing the defense. My guess is Lawless would probably have more value on the market as more of a plug and play mid-season kind of guy. I think if it was off season, Wilson might be more of a target. I just think Lawless you can just put in there because he's so athletic.
Yeah, and that was what I was gonna go with. I think you have more Lawlesses on the squad than you have Maxus and Danny Wilsons. So I think you would want to keep Danny because he's kind of like him and Maxu will play very similar. And I think you want that. And I think you have a bunch of Lawless like in a Michael Edwards, a Beta. You have a lot Bombito who are a lot more athletic who actually run. So I think it might be Lawless, but again, it's a hard decision.
That's a really tough one. I don't like that you put that on me. Okay, Sam or Barrios?
Sam or Barrios, I think it's gonna. I'd rather see Barrios leave. I think Sam has been a contributor.
He's been great all over the place.
So I think it has to be Barrios. I think Barrios is it's nothing against Barrios. I think it's just this team is in a different spot where he should be. I think he should be in a contender, being a super sub, and helping other players.
Sure.
I think that's what his role should be.
Yeah, I think that's great. Kevin via Burgundy Wave.
Highline.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, same person. Matt. No update on Lawless post game. How about Yappy dislocating his shoulder, getting it popped back in, and just getting back on the field?
That's what I'm talking. Dude's becoming a killer. Dude does not like. And again,
let's not give him killer until he scores, but he's on the right track. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. He's not a killer, but he's becoming one. Like mentally, he's trying to flip that switch, which is what we want from Yappy. He's 18. I was too high on him. I'm play the kids kind of guy. It is what it is, and I think he's about to he's trying to flip that switch, and maybe having Navarro be the Super 9 push him. Excited. You know what I mean? Might push him. And then you have a great problem of who do you play? Like,
bro, the hype on Navarro is real, bro. I talked to pretty much everyone I could tonight. That's not just our usual little press corps. Like, talk to the comms guys, some of their media departments, some of just the staff around. Like, it is like they are hype city.
Rapids, the team, the front office, everybody that works there.
Oh yeah,
have nothing but good things to say about that guy. So
I'm excited. You want to go ahead and plug us out?
DNB_Rapids, wherever you hear us, follow us there. 5-star review on podcast, which would be Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, anywhere. Just give us a 5-star review. Have nothing I say, don't say it at all. Give this video a thumbs up. We'd really, really appreciate it. That really helps us show our higher ups that we're trying hard and that there's people supporting us in everything we do.
Do you think anyone listens to us on an actual iPod?
That'd be dope as shit, though.
Like a Zune?
little fake MP3 ones I used to get at the flea market.
It was just the Microsoft version.
Yeah, I'm down. If you do, please send me a photo of that. I really appreciate it, guys.
That would be unreal if someone listens to us on a Zune. Let me know. Yo, shout out two of the coolest people I've met via this that are real Rapids fans. You guys rule. Let's see. Become a diehard at thednvr.com. Obviously, I've already gone over the list of all the things it gets you, but it's worth it. Bet at Bet365. Go to Kind Love, drink a Breck Brew, wear your Shady Rays, go to Legal Pete's.
And then send us a picture while you do it all together.
And more important than all of that, as always, baby. Even after the 6th 0-0 draw at home this season,
right at home, baby, right at home,
and always will be up the pits.